Sorry. What are you thinking? Real estate costs too much. Developing a social media strategy. So if you're considering that you want to get into the friendship of social media, where it is your friend, you got to humanize your business. Meaning that your business, you can't go out there and just be every time you put a message on Facebook or Twitter, it's just like 50% off all seeds, you know, or 10% off. If you book your job today, 10% off, right? That's advertising. Remember how it said there that they trust referrals, but only 14% of people trust advertising? If you're always a salesman and never a friend, they're not going to trust you, right? Sell your business, but sell it smart. And that is, sell it as a friend, as a referral. Give them recommendations and say, you know, another thing that you can put on that message could be, faced with a 10 by 10 patio, did you know that you can put a table of 3, well, don't forget me, a bistro set on that table with a few chairs, and give them some indications on how they can do these challenges? Have a slope on your property, kids falling off it? We have the solution for you. Link to some of the jobs that you've done where you've taken care of a sloped area, or maybe even created a kids garden. When you talk about kids, I will tell you that there's a large group of mommy bloggers out there that when you all of a sudden start to talk about kids and how you can create beautiful backyard landscapes and safe environments for kids, you're going to get engagement. People, their kids, remember I told you about Bragger? I bragged this weekend on Twitter. I was like, Gavin got his first goal. Wasn't a good goal, I got to admit. It wasn't really a good goal. I didn't say that on Twitter. Like really, he could have blew it in, but it was still a goal. In his eyes, Dad's eyes, it was a great goal. It's a friendship and a value exchange. It's about exchanging values. So what do I give to my followers? Each and every morning at 5 a.m. I consistently, and there's consistently, I give them a forecast. Monday through Friday. I don't do it Saturdays and Sundays. I like to drink wine on Friday nights. So that takes a little bit of time to wake me up on Saturdays. You know, and then you got to give them a reason why you would want to follow Larry the Landscaper. And this is what I also got to say. Many of us that do this industry, do this job, you know, some of us get so used to it that we forget about the passion, the love, the excitement, and how thrilling some of the things that we do. We deal in big machinery, right? We basically change the face of Mother Earth, right? We can make boring spaces interesting places. And by doing that, we can take huge boulders and move them over the top of a house with a crane into a backyard. A picture like that is pretty cool. Some of the pictures that will get you the most interaction is, let's say that one of your employees out there decides to fill the back of your truck, your pickup truck, with a bobcat, lifts the front of that bobcat, and the bobcat slides forward and crushes the back of your truck. And you just put the picture out there, bad day at the office. It makes you real. We all have those days. It doesn't matter what business it is, there's always those oops. You got to be careful with those oops. As long as those oops don't make you look unprofessional, but they're authentic oops, sometimes it's really good. Yesterday, you know, I thought about it, but I forgot. I went to the gym yesterday. You know, I've been working out. I haven't used the gym bag in a little bit of time. I found a rotten apple in the gym bag. You know, that's when you know you haven't worked out in a while. Rotten apple in gym bag. You guys could all relate. Makes you smile, right? But you know what? Don't be so humble about what you do on a day-to-day level. And remember, with your smartphone, your smart devices that you have out there, it's really quite easy to post a quick picture, right? You can link in on an application or on your smartphone, take a picture, and it'll post immediately to your Facebook and or your Twitter. I'm not really going to talk about that. If you want to talk about that after, there's a great, what's called a social media dashboard. It's a Canadian that developed it. It's called Hootsuite. So Hootsuite is H-O-O-T and then S-U-I-T-E, Hootsuite. With that little dashboard, what you can do is you can then take a picture. That will come, you'll go onto your Hootsuite. You can say, this is going to go to my personal page if you just want to show it, if it's a picture of your kids, right? You only want your friends to see the picture of your kids, so you click that off. But let's say if it's a picture of a great landscape, you want to show it to your friends, you want to show it to your business fan page that you have on Facebook, and you want to show it to your Twitter, you just go click, 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 boom, gone. You don't have to go do it 3, 4, 5 times, right? You can even put it on LinkSuite. So Hootsuite's something that's really good. Good messaging is all about power friending. That's the whole idea. News you can use, posing a question, a look behind the scenes. It's a value exchange. Everyone also likes free swag. If you ever want to get people talking, you say, hey, for somebody that tells me their biggest, who's the worst do-it-yourself landscaper? I'm looking for the world's worst do-it-for-yourself landscaper. I'll give you a $500 gift certificate. You wait to see the engagement that you get. Number one thing that, and just so you know, in terms of all the things that I've experimented, the number one thing that people always comment on is food. Really it is. So if I put what's Toronto's best burger, if I put out there what's the worst meal that you've had, or what's the best meal that you've had, they all comment on that, and the reason why I think is that we all eat, right? We all get pretty excited about eating too. You know, we all love food. So here's social media, the foe. This is where you got to be careful. And you know, when we talked about the picture of your kids, remember about the digital footprint that you leave out there. Anything that's on Twitter, any of those pictures that you put on Twitter will stay in that virtual atmosphere. Right? Anybody here have teenage kids? Okay, make sure you have this discussion with your teenage kids. Okay, that picture of them downing a beer, which looks cool to your friends, it's going to be on there, and when you go to apply for a job in 2 years, and many people, any of you guys out there that are having new applicants, always Google their name, go to Google Images, it'll pull up all the pictures of what they have out there that they've been attached to. So if you go on Google Images, the person pulls for a job, there's 10 Google Images of them smoking pot, one that I'm breaking into a car. You know, don't hire that guy, right? But remember that, you know, we have that digital footprint. So anything that you post out there will stay out there. So that's really important, not only just on this business level, but on our family levels, right? So remember, when you're taking pictures of the front of your home with your kids, make sure you never show the address. Never show the number of your home. Okay? Never show the back plate of your car. Okay? This is really important stuff. Okay? And that's social media, the foe. There's people out there that want to get you. Right? The other thing where social media is a foe is time. This is the biggest procrastination tool that you'll ever find in your life. You know, you're out there and you have 5 designs that you have to do if you're a designer. Or you have 5 jobs to quote on. And you're like, you know what, I'm just going to go check out my Facebook page for a couple minutes. Whoa, look what this person's doing. Oh, they went to that resort? I'm thinking about going to a resort. Let's go check out what that Mayan resort looks like online. Oh, you know what, I might as well just check on what the price of that resort is too. That's a great price of that resort. Maybe I'll book that resort. All of a sudden, 2 hours is gone. Those 5 jobs that you were quoting on, gone. Okay? Anybody here ever read The 4-Hour Work Week? It doesn't exist, by the way. I read The 4-Hour Work Week. And the one thing that The 4-Hour Work Week said was basically to train yourself, but also to train people on engagement. Right? So what was really utilized for me in that book is that, for me, I'm up every morning at 2:30 in the morning to go to BT. I'm on the road by 3:30. I'm at the station at 4:30. So if you want to reach me from the hours of 3:30 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, you're going to get me. After 3 o'clock, I turn it all off. And the reason why I turn it all off is, first and foremost, my number one job in life is to be a great dad. So when I go home, I try to make sure I'm with my kids. Right? If I'm going to interact on the line and look at tweets and all this other stuff, that's not fair to them. But really, if you're going to get into this world of social media, in this world, try to figure out a portion where you want to commit to it, but also remember that you can train the people that are engaging with you. And I don't only mean that with social media, also with phone calls. You know, if you're always somebody that they can always reach you, they can always reach you, they can always reach you, they're always going to call you, they're always going to email you, they're always going to tweet you. But if you're somebody that says, these are the times you'll reach me, and these are the times where you're not going to reach me, and stick to that, you all of a sudden find out that people will figure out their own answers on job sites, but also at the same time, you're going to have more time for the most important things in your life. The other reason why social media can be a foe is bad messaging. It can work against you. So I already said about sales-driven messaging, right? But at the same token, too many messages. You know, there's some people out there that will say, I'm in Ajax. They'll send a message out. And then an hour later, they'll go, I'm in Aurora. And then they'll say, I'm in Barrie. Okay, if it's not meaningful, like people are just going to start to either delist you, which means there's this thing called block. You can block people, you can unfriend people. It's really like high school, right? It's like, I don't like this person. I'm going to block them. I'm not going to call them anymore. I'm not going to do that. These are things. I still don't understand poking on Facebook, by the way. You can poke somebody. I thought coming home at night and saying, you know, hey, this person poked me today, to my wife, it's not really a good thing. So I still don't really understand the world of poking. Nothing to comment on. If you have nothing to comment on, just don't. Okay? Make sure it's interesting, and just also say to yourself, I remember when I used to buy products for our garden center. And I would look at, let's just say, I would look at this G-can, right? And I'd say to myself, would I buy it? Yeah. It's worth 200 bucks, right? Would I pay $200 for that? Okay, once I heard, yeah. So then I would put it on our store, because I would do that. So with some of the messaging that what you're sending out, you can say to yourself, this is your brand that you're creating for your business too. Do I find this interesting? Does this fit the brand and or messaging that I want my company to present out there? If you want to do sustainable landscapes, and then all of a sudden you show me a picture of your jacked up Ford 150 that has a trailer hitch with those things hanging off the end, those two balls. What the heck is with that? I'm not thinking you're going to create the sustainable landscape for me. Okay? So think about it. If you're doing sustainable landscapes, and that is your brand messaging, every one of those images and or messaging should suit that. If it doesn't, you're going to get attacked. Also, you don't have to answer everybody's tweet and or Facebook message. Okay? Yesterday I sent out that thing saying, I'm looking for the world's worst indoor gardener with a picture of your dead plant. I'll give you a copy of my book. Right? That's the incentive. I had a gentleman that tweeted me back and says, you know, something to the words of, wow, self-promoting yourself, you're such a loser. Right? So what I do for humor is, first, your initial thing is you're like, because I'm a little feisty. My mom's Irish, my dad's Italian. Right? I'm really kind of level-headed to a point, and then all of a sudden I fire up. So that fires you up immediately. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to go. So then I step back, and I look at his other tweets that are on there, and everyone's basically a bonehead tweet. Right? This is just what I would call, in Italians call people chooches. This guy was just the chooch. Right? So it's either I feed the chooch and give him a message back, or I just say, you're a chooch to myself, and carry on with life. Remember, ignoring a message and good PR is also really smart. This is really about public relations, right? That's social media. Social media is public relations. And we've all seen bad public relations. Mayor Ford right now is going through some of that, right? And Mayor Ford is the best thing for the world of social media and the best thing for broadcasters, because he always has an opinion. Mr. Mayor Ford, just be quiet sometimes. I love the guy. There's many things that I really like about him. He's somebody that, you know, I'm used to. I grew up also down the Ontario Food Terminal. The Ontario Food Terminal is a place where companies like Longo's, Highland Farms, the former Nob Hill Farms, these companies grew and became big because of hard work. In the world of hard work back then, you could actually say what you wanted to say, right? Back then, if somebody pissed you off, you just tell them what you thought of them. But now in a virtual world, if you tell somebody that what you think of them, like Don Cherry, who basically spread his word today about Haiti, all of a sudden that's grown and he's been called to account. It can be looked as a good message too, because all of a sudden Don Cherry, because hockey, this is also maybe what he did yesterday, hockey has been out of the news headlines all season. Don Cherry says that yesterday. Don Cherry, we haven't heard about that name all year. All of a sudden today, Don Cherry is on every television station, every radio station, every newspaper. Bad message or good message? You figure it out. Because he doesn't care. What's Don Cherry's brand? He doesn't give a shit.